Hi there. So welcome back. I'm Candy Motzek, and today I'm talking about part 4. This is a little mini series that I am doing on how to start journaling. And the reason that I started this series is because so many of my coaching clients have always been interested in journaling, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. And so today what I'm going to talk about is 6 quick tips that you can start putting into place today that will help you make journaling a healthy habit. So journaling, if you're interested, you know that it's great for stress reduction, it's great to process emotions, it's a great habit to get into so you can get to your goals and have a satisfying life even more quickly. It's a wonderful way of learning how to coach yourself as well. So there's so many benefits to it. But today we're going to talk about how do you make it a habit. And so let me dive in. I've got 6 tips. The first one is commit to doing it every day for 30 days. That 30-day window is a really good window for creating a habit that then you'll start to feel the benefit of it. So stick with it, decide, put that line in the sand and say, yeah, I'm going to do this for 30 days. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is if you mess up, if you screw up, don't worry. If you miss a day, don't use that as an excuse to not go back to it. If you make a mistake, so what? You're human. We all make mistakes. So if you miss one of those 30 days, just call it, it's a learning experience, and get back on that horse. Go and do it the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So that 30 days, don't expect that you're going to be perfect in it, but when you make a mistake and you forget to journal one day, don't use that as your time to never journal again. Go, I better get back on it. So that's tip number 2. When you forget a day, start again. Tip number 3 is make it simple. And I talked about this a little bit in the last video, but make it simple for yourself to do it. Don't make it a huge project. Start it with a 5-minute timer. Start with a little journal prompt that you can use. Start by just capturing what your day is being like. Don't turning it into a big major project. So start, keep it simple. Number 4, create a checklist. You guys might laugh at this, but I use this all the time. I love that feeling of a to-do list, the one where you finish that task and you check it off, or you put a little happy face sticker on there, or you draw yourself a little happy face on there. But if you make it a checklist, so start with a checklist for 30 days, day 1 through 30, or print off a calendar or use a calendar if you use a paper calendar. And every time you finish your journaling for that day, put a tick and just say, hey, I did it. As you watch those check marks accumulating, it really helps to reinforce the habit. So yeah, it is just like back in grade 1 in kindergarten when we were getting a gold star for doing something, but it's effective and it's fun and it makes the journaling more engaging and more fun. And hey, if it is more fun, you're more likely to stick with it and to create that habit and get the benefit of it, right? Okay, so step number 5, form a trigger. And that is something that I recommend to creating a ritual. So what do I mean by a trigger? Well, let me tell you here. Just a sec. I've got a couple of examples that I've written down. Okay, so if you want to start journaling, tie your journaling to something else that you do. So for example, for me, when I started journaling, and funnily enough, I still use the same trigger and the same ritual, I would sip my morning coffee while I was doing my journaling. That very, very first cup of coffee in the morning is one of my favorites, and that is how I started creating the habit of doing the daily journal. Now, as I'm sipping my morning coffee in one of my favorite cups, it's only natural that I journal alongside it. So, create a trigger. Maybe it's your morning cup of coffee or cup of tea. Maybe it's right after you walk the dog first thing in the morning. Maybe it's right after you have a shower and you've gotten dressed. Maybe you're doing it at the breakfast table just before you head out to work. Maybe it's the last thing that you do at night before you go to bed. Maybe you're using that as your trigger. Do a little bit of journaling, 5 minutes of journaling before you turn the light out at the end of the day. So all of those are suggestions that you can use to create a trigger that will help you establish the ritual and create that habit. All right, finally, point number 6, be easier if I had 5, but I happen to have 6 today, is be prepared. So it's really easy when you're starting to create a new intentional habit to not remember. That is completely normal and it's a completely human thing. However, if you do just a little bit of prep, you can help to keep that habit going. So what do I mean by that? Maybe if you're one of these folks that is like me, you want to start journaling first thing in the morning, leave your journal out with the pen right beside it, right next to your coffee maker. So as you're pouring that first cup of coffee, your book and your pen is right there, ready for you to take it up and to do your writing. Or if you're a last time, the last minutes of the day before you go to bed, leave that journal beside your bed on the nightstand with the pen right there so that it's there, you see it, you're prepared, and it just is that extra reminder to keep you on track with that habit. Another way is to put a reminder in your phone. So oftentimes I'll set an alarm in my phone, but instead of just leaving it as alarm, I'll create the little note about remember to, maybe this is for my gratitude practice, but for you, for journaling, you could change the name on the alarm, that note to say, remember that it's time to journal. So maybe you are somebody who gets up at 7 in the morning, you want to get moving on your day, you decide 8 a.m. is the time that I'm going to start doing my journaling. Set an alarm for 8 a.m. Choose a sound that is encouraging and motivating, not one of those ones that scares you and shocks you. Something that is like one of those nice bells or the ocean sound or the wind. And then set that alarm for 8 a.m. every day. And instead of leaving it as alarm, type in journaling time or the prompt. Today, I'm going to journal about my gratitude. So those are the 6 tips. Let me run through them again quickly for you. So tip number 1, if you want to establish a habit as a journaler and get all the benefits of journaling, start by setting a 30-day habit. So create a 30-day window and commit to journaling every day for those 30 days. Tip number 2, if you miss a day, don't stop. Don't leave. Maybe you've journaled for 5 days and you missed the 6th day. That's fine. Pick it up again. Go back to it on the 7th day. It's okay if you miss a day. Maybe you miss a couple of days. Maybe life got busy. That's all right. Come back to it. Don't use that falling off the cart to mean you never do it again. Use that time that you forget, to use that as a reminder to get back on again. So, for 30 days, if you forget a day, don't stop. Come back to it. Tip number 3, make it simple. Make it a 5-minute, easy, simple activity that you can do. Set your timer, start with a journal prompt, start about writing about what you did today, what you're hoping today is going to be like, the things that you've got planned for today, the simple things. That's tip number 3. Tip number 4, use a checklist. Make it just like kindergarten. Every day for that month, take the fun of checking it off on that calendar. You can use a colorful pen, you can use a gold star, you can draw a little face on there, but capture that you're checking the list off. That's going to give you a little reminder, that little good feeling that, yeah, I did another day. Okay, step number 5, form a trigger to make it a ritual. Tie your journaling to something that you already do. Maybe it's tying your journaling to sipping your first cup of coffee in the morning, or maybe it's tying your journaling to the last few minutes before you go to sleep at night. but tie that new habit to something that you already do and create that trigger. Finally, tip number 6, be prepared. Leave your journal and your pen, I'm assuming you're doing handwriting, close to somewhere that you're going to see it. When it's that time of day, you want to make sure that your journal is right by your coffee cup. And as soon as you get up in the morning, if you're an early morning journaler, it's right there beside your coffee cup. Put it there the night before so you're ready to go. Or leave your journal on your nightstand and then it's there right as you're getting into bed. So those are the 6 tips that I'm using to help you make that a daily habit. Let me know which one of these is your favorite tip. Let me know how it's going. Have you tried journaling? I'd love to hear how it's going for you. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.